Getting ready to plant the onions in the garden. First thing I plant every year is the onions, and I didn't till the whole garden because about a few days ago we got over 10 inches of rain during a 5, 6, 7 day period. Filled up all the creeks. We were very dry here. The ponds were going dry, ground was very dry. But back earlier in the fall, I had tilled up the garden. I do that every year to get rid of the bugs, but it had stayed, I thought if it turns them up and it freezes their behinds off, maybe that would help, like the squash bugs and things. I've always done it. Whether it helps or not, I don't know. The old timers say it does. But we still have bugs every year anyway. But anyway, I tilled off this area here, and I'm getting ready to put in some onions. And some of this stuff I'm saying because I figure people that ain't ever watched before, haven't ever planted a garden, might need some information. So that's what I'm doing here, is giving out some free information. But I'm fixing to plant onions here. I didn't till the whole garden because if we get some more big rains, there's no weeds, nothing really to worry about to speak of yet out here. So I'm going to wait till I just have to till the whole thing up, because when it goes to raining, it washes my soil. All wants to go down that direction of the garden. And there's a spot down there where I can see where it's been running through under the fence down there, the dirt has. So some of my topsoil washes off, and erosion is a bad thing in a garden. So not much went through there, but I could tell it did some. So I'm not going to till it till I just have to. It's kind of packed right now, but I had to till this little area here to get started with my onions. So I'm going to do a little planting on the onions, and we'll show you when we get done here. Alrighty, I'm here in the garden again planting the onions, and I was going to show you a little bit what they look like when they're planted. Here's the row of onions, and I was going to get down here where my shadow wasn't casting over, but you can see the little onion plants, I hope, down through here. And I've got a dual row, I guess you would call it. I got like one here and one over here and one there, and I go all the way down through here and do that. I've got a little furrow down through here, and what I'll do is come back and put a little fertilizer in that, like triple 10, something like that. And I'll also fill these rows in with rabbit manure. I don't like to use a lot of man-made fertilizer, but once they get started good, I'll come back and put a little dressing down through there with some man-made fertilizer. And I don't get real scientific with this, but I'll show you a little bit. Some people would take a tape measure and want to measure out their onions, but I just kind of guess it, and I just go down through here and poke some in the ground. This bunch that I got here, I thought I'd ordered red ones, but I remember now I had ordered a bunch of just miscellaneous onions. So anyway, I till the ground up first, and it gets really on both sides. I'll go down there. I got a little hole that's V-shaped, and I'll make a little furrow, and it'll put some dirt over here and a little bit here. It's not a bunch. Now these rocks in this garden are put in here. This garden never had any rocks, but my old home place was here, and they tore it down, and it was rocked, and some of the rocks and foundational rocks and gravel and stuff got in this garden. But used to, there was no rocks. I've got in this little area right in here where I'm planting has got just a few. I had a garden up in Arkansas quite a few years ago, and I'm telling you, it was rocky. My dad, he said, if you would get them rocks out of that garden, it'd probably do better. And I was like, well, if I did, I'd just have a big pit. But here where I'm at, this old garden spot that I was raised on, started growing a garden here, would have been helping my dad probably 45 years ago. Was old enough to plant onions and haul onions and dig taters and stuff. And so I've been back here now 10 years working in this old garden spot. But it has been a dandy all these years. It has grown a lot of stuff, except for a little while there my dad didn't grow a garden. I come back, started using it, and this is good soil, but it'll grow good onions. I like to use the onion, some call them plants, but not the little bulbs. Those little bulbs do not do good for here. They may do great for you. I don't like to use a lot of fertilizer because it can make your onions hot, and I like my onions sweet. So it seems like if you use more, like rabbit manure is kind of soft on them, but I do use a little bit. And here in a few days, these will start catching a holt, and when they do, I'll come back in here and put a little dressing down the middle of a little bit of triple 10, something like that, fertilize lightly. Won't do a lot. I might even do it twice, but I don't want a whole bunch because it will make them hotter. It seems to me like they get hotter the more fertilized. Mostly just letting nature take its course does wonders. You can also water down this little furrow, and it'll help get your nutrients out when it gets kind of dry weather. I'll water just a little bit, not much, maybe once a week. Come out here and soak that middle down. And I've always been able to grow wonderful onions, except I don't like those little bulb things you get. They do something to stunt the growth on those things, and then you try to get them started back, they seem like they don't do good. Now these are for bulbs to slice and stuff, like to put on hamburgers. That's what we're growing, these red, whites, and then over there that row is a double row of yellows. It's supposed to be like Vidalia onions, and I like to eat them, slice of that with beans and cornbread, stuff like that. But I grow other onions and over in a container for dicing up and putting on salads and things like that. I also want to tell you, if you've got chickens, and we've got chickens and we let them free range most of the year, in the winter I keep them locked up. I've got them locked up right now. I've been letting them out some, but I probably won't let them out for a week or two here. The varmints are pretty bad. The coyotes are mating right now, and they'll try to get your chickens really bad. We even had a bald eagle come in here the other day looking for a chicken, and thankfully I had them locked up. But they will come in here and scratch these up, and they'll tear them all up. So right now I just they're in there loosely, just barely put in with my finger, just stuck them down in the ground. And this row of onions goes pretty good little distance there. Almost had 4 complete rows. The bunch that had the mixed onions, I got these from Dixadale Farms. I ordered one that had red, white, and yellow mixed different types, and it seemed like it didn't have as many as the Vidalia type onions had. But once these get started good, I'll keep this middle down through here tilled up, and on the other side between here and that fence, I don't want weeds getting in here. I'll keep the outside, and I'll come down through and hoe these, and as they start doing good and growing, I'll peel the dirt back. So I've kind of got them on this little bit of a ridge, not a whole lot of a ridge, but just a little hump there down through here, just so that I can rake the dirt back when they get started. And it seems like they do a lot better if the bulb part is exposed and just the roots in the ground. But you got to be careful if you get too carried away. Sometimes you'll actually uproot the onion. you can usually tear up a little spot and just set it back in and it'll go ahead and make it. Some of these onions, every once in a while you'll have one that don't do anything. It'll just be green onion blades only. Some of them won't make any bulb at all, but most of them, I'd say 80% of these, if nothing goes wrong, seriously wrong, I've never had it go wrong with onions. Seem like a pretty easy thing to grow and plant. But if everything goes well, probably about 80% of these will make good bulbs for eating. And sometimes we'll pick a few of these when they're little bulbs, and my wife will clean them up, and we'll eat the green and the little onion all together when they're young and tender. And that's a pretty neat snack when you're eating a meal along with your supper. Seems like goes along good. We don't do too many of that because I like to let them get big bulbs if I can. But last year I had some very, very big ones, and I mean we had a little more rain in the spring. Might have been something to it, but these dudes just really done wonderful. Anyway, there's my onion planting video. I hope if you've never planted onions, you'll give it a try. And if you have any questions, we'll put it in the comments, and I'll do what I can to help you. I don't know it all, and I'm not real precise with it. I just throw them out there, and they seem to, Mother Nature kind of takes care of the rest. I do a little bit, but I've planted them before when I was busy and not put any fertilizer, do anything, and they turn out pretty good. They might not be quite as big, but they'll turn out and make pretty good onions. So anyway, thanks for watching this onion planting video at Cedar Creek Homestead. God bless you. Have a great day.